Right. I just thought I'd have a little rant in light of the last few videos that I made, the last two. Sort of follow on from that, catch up. Because I do think it's important to put this stuff out there as carefully as I can. What I'm about to say could be, I just hope that Darren doesn't mind me saying it. I've got to be very, very careful because I've got to protect me and anyone else I mention. And even the ladies in this house. I've got to protect the identities of people, and obviously nobody knows where I live, but I'm not going to mention where I am, all the identities. I'm going to be very, because even when I don't say who these people are, I have to be very careful because I want to protect them, unless they're actually physically attacking me or I'm not safe, then I wouldn't be so careful. This is a tricky one because the ladies here, two of them, have said, yes, they said those strange, it's a very strange thing to say to someone you don't know, are you schizophrenic? Now, that wouldn't go down well with anyone, and that's no offence to anyone. There's nothing wrong with suffering from schizophrenia. It doesn't make you mad or crazy. It's an illness. The demented people are the ones not helping the trauma victims. Unless you're schizophrenic and vile, antisocial and do nasty, demented things, then no, there's nothing wrong. With that being sort of, what's the word? Is it pedantic? Pedantic? Is that the word? Don't know. But I do agree that I overthink things because I've had to deal with all these demented individuals, but I kept saying to these ladies, everything I've told you is the truth. I have met this fraud investigator, John Alexander Patterson. I don't know if he's alive, if he's okay. Fraud, theft, money laundering, baby organ harvesting, everything that's going on. And I had to come to find a way to understand why the lady that said that, because she admitted, she said what Monique at the hub said. She said, do you think maybe people are afraid of hearing the truth? Which is exactly what Monique said. But then Monique, they do have things to hide because they've done nasty things to me. And they don't like hearing the truth. Now, I'm trying to be, what's the word? Well, balanced is one word. Because obviously when you've got women who have partners who have been put in prison for beating them up, they've taken drugs, but you are someone who's had a sheltered middle class upbringing and all this. No, I was told something today, I can't repeat it, I cannot repeat it. But it's put me in a bit of a predicament because, well, if they don't want me to tell anyone, but it involves the safety of someone in the house, If someone in this house has told me they've been threatened with being beaten up, but they don't want me to tell anyone, yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? And I don't want to get involved because of all this gang stalking and what's happened to me, etc., etc. But I did confide in someone this evening. And it's a difficult one because I don't know if they know about my YouTube channel, but I'm not saying, if you do know about my YouTube channel, I think I did tell you, and you're watching this and you're thinking, hang on, Bryony, I told you this in confidence. Nobody knows who you are, so don't worry. Nobody knows where I am, except I'm in Eastbourne, obviously. So nobody knows who I'm talking about. But if you get wind of this, or you watch it, it's okay. It's not going to go anywhere. But because I haven't said who said what, if you catch my drift. But I'm documenting because obviously said person has been, I gave the phone number of the person who set up that charity. So tonight I've had to just warn them, because what I don't want my already muddied water dirtied anymore. You know, I've got a landlady who's watching me all the time, who should be in prison. But she was away. She was abroad until the 4th of September. So she's doing things her own way. Yeah. Excuse me. Oh, she told the judge that she was happy to go to prison at the age of 85 because she wants to protect those demented tenants from me. Yes. But the council didn't act lawfully for all that time, and so they stuck me in here. No illegal evictions officers, yes. Well, anyway, on that note, I've looked on Facebook, and apparently we are winning still. We're winning the war. The white hats are fighting for us. But anyway, no, I tell you, I'm not bothered with someone, although it's a very strange thing to ask someone you've never met before, are you schizophrenic? That is, you would be bothered by that, because if it's someone that you don't know, you immediately think, oh, they must think I'm delusional. But when I came into the house, I was heightened. It's called trauma. It makes you human, you know? When you've had all these things that I've been documenting all this time, if you don't have ears to hear, no one's ever going to listen to you. So don't expect others to listen to you if you're not going to give them the time of day. If you're going to come up, you know, because the thing is, I've just realised that this lady is saying I'm overthinking, which I do overthink. But isn't she overthinking? Because I come into the house and she's immediately thought, hello. So there's been some sort of, and then there was strange behaviour then from the girl who she claims threatened to beat her up. And I've only just been told this, and I've given that lady the phone number to get me help. So this is why when they were offering to help me, saying you shouldn't be in this house, someone in the town said to me, you've got to be careful of people who have taken drugs because they can be very manipulative. Can't anybody? Look at what this evil landlady has done. She's an 85-year-old retired matron. And these ladies know because I told them. And I played them the dictaphone recording. The one who said that the other one has threatened to beat her up because they're clean from drugs, but they've got some sort of a craving. So she knows the lady. I don't know why I'm whispering. Well, it is nearly 3 o'clock in the morning, but she knows the person that I played on my dictaphone who threatened to beat me up at 3 o'clock in the morning before PC Scott Franklin Lester arrested me 3 hours later. And she said he's known to be the worst police officer in East Sussex and he's got all his medals. And she knows Sherelle Clark and Dion Clark, who were mentioned in the BBC News as mugging the elderly. So there seems to be the police protect criminals, yes? So to a degree, I'm not going to be careful because it's in public interest. My documentation is, as others have said to me, the good ones have said to me, you are, believe me, you're working, you're doing your bit. Because I said, I don't go to work, I'm on benefits. No, you're doing your bit. So, because I've never worked so hard in my life since I've been on severe disability. But I do feel sorry for these women because, I've got it hard in a different way. I've had it easy, but hard in a different way. And some of these people have got terrible physical ailments. There was a man with no arms. Excuse me, no arms in one of these places, and he got no help from anyone. I need to be interviewed about this. I don't know how he lost his arms. Someone said, I can't remember how, but it doesn't matter. The fact that there's a man with no arms, and he said to me, with no arms like this, could you fill that bottle for me with boiling water? And I filled it. I was like, it's burnt my hand because it's plastic. It wasn't a conductor of heat. I said, don't touch it, it'll burn you. He said, no, I'm used, it's fine. Of course, he doesn't have he's got no arms, he's got no hands, so he couldn't feel it the way I could. And he picked it up. I don't know how he did it, with his neck like that. He had no arms. So this man, and he picks up things with his mouth. And there was one time I saw him in tears. This was at that awful place in Elms Avenue. The place that had the drunk woman coming in. She just got hit by a car and she was covered in blood and the police had washed her hands of her. She later took her own life, according to Helen in New Haven. I've seen so much, but that poor man with no arms was crying because he wasn't getting the help. Now, quite rightly, these women have come from a women's refuge where they get the help. But they don't understand me because they've got social workers. People like me don't get social workers because I've never taken drugs and I've never been beaten up. I've been assaulted and bruised, beaten by the police, injured, but not beaten up, but people like me don't get that help because I've never taken drugs. I haven't been severely abused by my family. I've had the narcissistic abuse and neglect that creates emotional issues. But if I'm in a heightened state, it's because of anxiety and trauma. I certainly ain't. I couldn't lie to save my life. And telling the truth, as people don't like the truth, it brings out the demons in them. But the truth shall set you free. And this is why I'm what they call a chosen one, you know, the super empath thing, the narcissists, you know, that go after us. So, yeah, so, you know, seeing the physical, I can't repeat what this lady said to me because it's, I've got to be careful because I've got to protect them. Because, you know, I don't want to put anyone's safety at risk. But, oh my gosh, the things that they tell you is just horrific. How their families abuse them. I mean, she's struggling to on a walking stick to get, and, you know, can't get food. The same sort of problem. Well, I didn't have this problem. She should be. Why aren't they helping her? You know, the PIP form. We haven't received your whatever it is. And she said, I handed it in. You know, can you, stupid questions. Can you pick up a cup? It's like when my partner snatched a knife from me and he's now got his hand like that and he needed stitch. And they were asking him a stupid question, 999. How much, is there enough blood to fill up a cup? And there he is, blood everywhere. He's screaming down the phone. This is in a hotel. So he runs out of the door, blood everywhere, dripping all over the carpets, no one doing anything. And it was his letting agent who saw him in the street and drove him to the hospital. One of the agents, his letting agent. I was homeless. It's frustration, unless you're actually going through it. I ran into the sea and lifted my arms up to YHWH and made, you know, a genuine. I said, I love my father. This is when he was still alive. I hadn't seen him for 30 years. Still haven't found out how he died, beaten out of my flat for 4 months by these thug police. But that particular PC McCarthy, the other one, and PC Mark Vittler, yes, they all know about my YouTube channel. And I don't know what this thing about exposing my hair was about. I don't know why I lifted. Trauma and stress makes you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And I did it on Beachy Head. And maybe it's because I had been stripped naked by them to humiliate me. When I say naked, I mean down to the underwear, and they took my bra off me. So it's my way of saying you can't humiliate me. Attempted rape. I put someone in prison for 2 years and 10 years on a sex offenders register in 2011. Forgot all about it. Got on with my, I wouldn't say life, existence. And it was my partner, Darren. I wouldn't be here without him. He walked into all of my problems. He literally just walked in. Because I cried out for help. I had the leaks from that were going through to the hair salon. That was it. Enough was enough. So, you know, if I can't say what people, you know, if anyone's got something to hide because of their wickedness, this gang stalking, if they know things that I don't know. The police thugs arrested him. I was arrested. This is when he was given a caring role through Care for the Carers, so I don't know. So I'm sort of going all over the place here. I'm not sticking to one subject here. But all I'm saying is I've never had the help, and I've got a letter. Where is that letter? Because these people are, They really are idiots. I'm sorry, but where is it? A letter from today. I got a letter, and so what was I saying? So it's very difficult because when people don't see everything, it's like the lady that's allegedly threatened the other one, who's I've given the charity phone number to, Trudy. This is why I've let them know. I've had to let them know. She was crying the other night, and I tried to comfort her because she loves her boyfriend who's gone to prison for beating her up. And of course I'm not going to be a hypocrite, because I'm not going to say, but obviously I'm not going to patronise, but obviously you could say, oh, you deserve better. But we've all been had that narcissistic abuse, and I had that, but not with Darren, not with my partner now. But he was on the receiving end of all these years of, because I'd been on my own, I'd lost my mother, domestic abuse, attempted rape, pretending to look okay on the outside, and the abuse from my sisters. Well, they're not going to like hearing this. I'm crying for my transgender sister, but this woman I've just mentioned, who allegedly threatened, I have to be careful the words I use. She was saying, well, it's understandable that you've only just responded to your sister's text because she's crippled, brain damaged. I'm crying. But she doesn't understand that I could not, because of the anxiety, open the text messages or the message on Facebook. I couldn't bring myself to do it. It's really textbook basic stuff, this anxiety. It's not it's not paranoia, it's not it's not paranoia, it's not schizophrenia, it's years and years of trauma. I'm 42, I've never drunk, I don't drink, smoke or take drugs. I don't know if there's bitterness towards you, because one minute they're saying you shouldn't be in here. Oh darling, this is not the place for you. After saying that I might be schizophrenic, and of course she's going to take umbrage to that. But then saying, oh, you should be lucky you've got a roof over your head. Now, I wouldn't say that to them. So you can understand why I don't. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. This is why I keep away from people, not just because of my anxiety, but because there is, and I don't want to label these ladies as covert narcissists. Of course I don't. I'm trying to be balanced. I've had to deal with all these very demented people and be a superwoman at the same time. And then I'm being told, darling, this isn't the place for you. This is not right for you. It's bad for your health. That I'm paranoid and all that. But I need to be appreciative. I've got a roof over my head, and don't play on your emotions, because there was a sprinkling of that. So yes, it's yeah, tripping a tight lip like that. So it's hard. It is hard because I don't want to. Like one of the I can't stand smoking inside or outside, and it's against the law to smoke inside. And she said, do you mind if I smoke? And I said, no, that's not what I would say. It's the people pleaser. The real me would say, well, actually, no, I do mind because it's against the law. It's a fine. And this place could be shut down if they knew that you were smoking in here. But because of the people pleaser in me, I said, and she knew because I just washed my hair. I've got OCD. I'm all clean. I've got my nice dressing gown on. And she said, you're not happy, are you? Because I said, I think I need to go downstairs. You're not happy, are you? And I said, and I said, at least, and then I said to her, you see, this is why I don't like being around people. It's all or nothing. I'm either very, very, very passive and polite, or it will all just come out. So it's all or nothing. I mean, crumbs. I was on the promenade. Cyclist comes up, zooming up, and I'm like, I haven't got the energy. I haven't got the confidence or the energy. And it says in massive letters on the promenade, no cycling. It was in the Herald about 5 years ago that a 3-year-old got hit by a hit and run cyclist on the promenade, and it says no cycling. But Eastbourne has got loads of that. The number of times we've nearly been killed by cyclists on footpaths, on our right of way. Yeah. So you see where I'm going with all of this. So, and I will just finish on this note because I've got this letter. I'm going to say one thing before I say this. And I hope my partner doesn't kill me for saying this, but I got to be very careful how. In fact, I don't think he'd want me to say it at all. So I'm going to allude. I always allude to things because I do feel it needs saying in a certain way. But I can't actually say it, if you see what I mean. He's got Freemasonry on both sides of his family, and I didn't know that. I kind of did. He did tell me. That's why he shouted at me, because he says I don't listen. But I don't remember, kind of thing. But I hope he well, anyway, I'll be careful how I say this. How can I say it without saying it? You know this thing about generational curses and generational abuse? Because I was like, your grandfather was a Satanist. Freemason, like, yeah, so I've got to be very careful what I say. Like, I can't even say it though. I can't. It's okay when you're talking about someone that whose name you don't use, that you don't know, that nobody else will know. But if I say it's related to someone to do with my partner, let's just say that if it is SA, shall we say, you know, abuse, SA, that's what it's labelled as, SA, that kind of abuse, it's not just Freemasons, and this is what me and my partner were saying, it's generational curses, it's, you know, it's like alcoholism, you know, the working class people and alcohol that runs through generations. But he said his grandfather was ex-military. You know, it's strange this, because I said this about Adamant, who wrote to me about his demons of mental illness when he made the Channel 4 documentary, and his best friend was I'm going to repeat things a million times over. His best friend worked across the road from our house in Seaford, famous, well-known punk, And the whole of Seaford knew who Pamela Rourke was, aka Jordan. Now, we moved down here in 1986 when my parents divorced, so I didn't even know who Jordan was until I got into Adamant. I didn't even know she worked across the road from our house, and I was heavily into Adamant when I was 17 in the late 90s. So to then find out that she's working across the road from our house and then going to these conventions was, like that. Because, you know, Adamant got Andrew Sack's granddaughter, you know, Georgina Bale, to join Adamant when he reformed, and my gosh, was I jealous. Even being 6'7" with my platforms and hardly wearing anything, chain bra and whip and everything, that wasn't enough to get me on stage with him, which people, one woman at Tunbridge Wells said, you should be up there. Yeah, I've gone off on one, but Adamant's grandfather, the MK Ultra thing, and everything that Mark Devlin said about Adamant. And I used the Baphomet thing because it was my transgender sister who got Adamant to write to me. That was my only way that I could get through to my... Well, obviously I'd only just seen her like this, in this state. I'd never seen her with a beard before, and it's too much for her for me to call her, but I only know her as her. Yes. Now, her abusive carer didn't seem to know what I was talking about, so I guess she hadn't told her that she got Adamant to write to me, and I said Adamant worships Baphomet like they all do, the Freemasons. They all do in the music industry. Anyone who's anyone should know this by now, that they worship Baphomet. Oh, you need to have evidence of that. She didn't know. Emma, I haven't even reported you. I don't know who you are, but you knew about my YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, if you don't believe me, there is actually a picture of Adamant, if you know who he is. I don't know how old you are. My sister is 7.5 years older than me. But there is a picture of Adamant doing the hand gestures as Prince Charming. And that's what the Freemasons do. There's the Masonic... The pop video is set in a Masonic lodge. And this is what they worship. He's an MK Ultra victim. Like Jeanette Archer's satanic ritual abuse, he may have been abused at the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, those psychopaths that got you wearing mouth masks during CONVID, which was the covert MI5 operation, or whatever. But, and Adamant wrote to me about and he wrote Demons of Mental Illness. So, the band who actually wore I Heart Satan t-shirts in a Christian church in Portsmouth, I think it was, about 10 years ago, was it? But because I idolised him, and if you want to understand idolatry, divination, clairvoyancy, which is that, necromancy, praying to the saints, the dead, which is what the Catholics do, because I was a Catholic, read your Bible. Read scripture. It's all there. It's all there. If you want the answers to everything, because, you know, but Freemasonry, I've said it again and I'll say it before, I did the Masonic initiation into brownies. Anyway, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. If you want to find out, do the research for yourself or stay asleep. I keep saying it because it needs to be said, but I did not know that my partner My partner's grandfather, and I have to be very careful what I say, ex-military, his mother and father don't know the stuff that we know about Freemasonry. Dr. William Schnoblum, he came out of all of that. He got saved. I worked with a Freemason. I didn't know what it all was till now, till 8 years ago. And I can't look at adamant the way that I used to, obviously, because I've come out of it. I've come out of all that evil and witchcraft. I'm not into astrology anymore, although it stays with you. These things stay with you. But generational curses, I tell you what, sexual abuse is there, as my partner said, it's off the scale. There will be so many people who have been abused, because even if you're not a victim of satanic ritual abuse, you could have parents and their grandparents and their grandparents. The abuse just goes on and on and on through the generations until you rebuke it in the name of YHWH. And it's my partner who's brought me to the name of Yahweh and Yeshua, what a lot of people call him, Jesus Christ. That's not his name. He's got the Father's name, Yeshua, Hamashiach. So, and he's not a fair-haired, green or blue-eyed man that they like to depict. No. Yeah. Anyway, and he was, as my childhood best friend atheist said in my Catholic playground, he was nailed to a stump like that, to a tree, impaled on a tree with his arms up like that, because crucifixion was one way to die, but that's not what happened to our Saviour, Yeshua. So that's the only thing the cult got right. But anyway, cults, generational curses, but I did not realise. But my partner did say that back in the 80s, in around 1984, 1985, he went to Spring Harvest, Summer Wine. What do they call it? That thing at Bognor Regis that I went to a few months after my mother died. My school teacher friend, and I want to tell my transgender sister this because I think it will help her. My peripatetic school teacher friend, whose father and mother are a bit funny, and I'm sorry, but I have to be careful what I say. Again, I can't say these things. But her father was probably a Freemason, because her elderly father, he had her quite late in life. He was mayor of East Croydon many moons ago. And she went through a period where she had, forgive me for saying this, I have to put it out there though, she said that she thought she had lesbian feelings for her opera friend. Oh God, I don't know if I should say that. But they got me out of the flat when I was literally social services. Nobody didn't care. My mother had died, and the social worker landlord who died of cancer was just in it because it's a profit-making business. We're just numbers. We die tomorrow. They replace us with someone else. She came in with her opera friend. Now, she went to a talk at Summer Wine Christian festival thing at Bognor Regis. I was in pain. I was frightened, very frightened, lost, had all that clutter in that flat. She didn't realise just how much help I needed, and no one was helping me. I had no friends. She's someone who had a busy life. She's playing in the Royal Albert Hall, but she thought she had lesbian feelings for her opera friend who had picked me up out of that hellhole supported accommodation. Now, and this is what I need to tell my transgender sister, I had the wisdom to know that she was confused, and it's because she wasn't getting the love she needed from her mother. Because often people who... There was a homosexual man in America who admitted he was homosexual because his father had abused him. Now the shoe was on the other... This is a different scenario though. This is needing love because of neglect, not because of SA. So this is where obviously one has to be careful, but it wasn't obviously, you know, it was, I wouldn't be saying it on YouTube otherwise. But she later said to me, she's now married to a toy boy who's very middle class and got fancy cars. He's like James Bond. He's very sensitive, a bit like my partner. You know, she goes for the sensitive ones, the quiet sensitive. But she said to me, Brian, it was a phase. It was because of my mother. And I said to her, Heather, I already knew that. You see, I already knew that. And it's the same with my sister. And she's not deluded like these LGBT, some of them are just attention-seeking nutters. My sister has admitted there in front of me. She admitted before she's not well. It's not something, she had to do it after our mother died. But she's contradicting herself because the sex change I'm talking about. Because she doesn't understand the divination thing, and I don't know if she's going to watch my